The scenarios you are facing right now are not your enemy. Even if your specific person is not showing up the way you want, then your 3D is not responsible for it. Your specific person is going to change, and they will change for you once you understand about the real enemy. The real enemy is something dear to you. It is the devil in disguise. Yet you keep on abusing and complaining about the 3D. And on the other hand, you love the enemy, and you feed it daily. So, who is the real enemy? Well, the answer is simple. Your old story is the real enemy. Your 3D reality is not your enemy, but your best friend. Your old story is the real enemy. Instead of defeating the real enemy, people are loving it and complaining about their best friend. I have seen comments on posts and videos where people are typing their old story again and again. They claim that they are living from the end state of being, or they are thinking from the state of the new story, where their desired partner is with them. But still in comments or with their friends they are discussing about how X person behaved with them. When I come across such comments, I am highly confused. I think, if these people really understand the meaning of living from the end or not. Do they really understand it? If they understand and they say that they are living thinking from the state of the new story, then they wouldn't explain their situation to anyone. They wouldn't seek advices from their friends on what to do. They wouldn't explain their circumstances to anyone. It is because their current situations, where they don't have their specific person, is just an old story. This is not their new story. This is not their ideal story, where their specific person is with them. It is an old story. It is their real enemy that they feed every day. They feed this enemy by giving their full attention to it. They live in the victim mentality. They think low of themselves, and their enemy gets stronger day by day. I know you are guilty of doing this too. But don't feel guilty anymore, because now you will deprive your enemy. You will do it by not talking about your old story. You will stop explaining your circumstances to anyone. If it hurts, if you feel low, just take a piece of paper and write down your old story. Write how you feel and what is it that is disturbing you. After writing it, you will feel calm because you puked the enemy out of you. Now you are clean. The next step is to burn this paper in front of your eyes and throw the ashes to its real place, which is the dustbin. The old story is just garbage, a disease, a discomfort running in your body and mind. The correct place is the dustbin. Do this if you are really frustrated and you feel hurt. This activity brings you a relief, and you will experience it once you do it. Now, you have to deprive the enemy, and you have to do this by changing the story. You have to do this by living in the new story, by thinking from the new story. For just a second, think that, if your specific person was with you, would you really complain and explain your circumstances to anyone? Would you do it? No, right. You wouldn't do it. You would be at peace and you would enjoy your life. When you are with them, you would think differently about yourself and your specific person. But still people are like, I have an ex, we are not in touch. I did this or that, still there is no movement and whatnot. This happens, but hear me clearly for the last time. Your old story doesn't matter. Your new story matters when it comes to manifestation. I have watched a reel recently where a person said, whatever you do in life, some person will talk bad about it. Don't be that person. When I heard this, it hit me hard and at the right spot. I realized that it doesn't matter whether people talk good or bad about it. What matters is, do I talk bad about myself? No one can defeat you in this world. You only defeat yourself. Well, that is a topic for another day. But what I am trying to make you understand is, if you truly live from the end, you would never mention the new story. Like in the success story of Neville Goddard, where he went to Barbados. When he did his imaginal acts, he was unsure about whether the imaginal acts are working. So he went to Abdullah and tried to explain his circumstances. But Abdullah didn't listen to him. He just said, you are in Barbados. How can you talk about going to Barbados when you are already there? The moment you realize the truth behind Abdullah's word is the moment you will manifest whatever you want. If you are serious about manifesting, you have to understand that the moment you think of the old story is the moment you lose power. Manifesting is not about hoping that it will happen someday, or it will work out someday. Manifesting is about claiming it right now. You have the power, you can make it work. All of it requires a dedication. You would feel nothing is happening. But it is not the case. Whatever that happens in your life is always a gain. As you came in this physical world empty-handed, so whatever happens, you are always on the profit side. The law is not about hearing, the law is about doing. It is all right to watch success stories, but you will not believe them. But once it happens with you, you will know the truth behind my words, and to make it happen, you have to persist in thinking from the end state of being. Your 3D reality is acting like a mirror. It is reflecting what you are doing internally. If you are feeling guilty all the time, if you are feeling like a loser, it will reflect it back to you by creating circumstances where you would feel like a loser. But if you are changing yourself, if you are changing the way you perceive yourself, if you realize that only you are responsible for your life, then things would start to change. Changing your personality is changing your personal reality. As 3D is your friend, it will reflect the change back to you. Be grateful for it because it is showing where you are heading internally. 3D is just reminding you that if you don't like it, change it. If your circumstances are showing that they are not with you, it's all right. Change it by changing the story. Telling your old story and seeking advice from people on your particular circumstances is not going to take you anywhere. You already know what you have to do. Change your assumptions, change your self-concepts. The more deeply you study Neville Goddard, the more you realize that it is not about them, but it is always about you. There is no one to change but the self, and by changing this, people automatically change. You have to satisfy yourself internally by imagining and living from the end state. By doing it regularly, you will make it natural to you. Like Neville, don't think that you are going to Barbados. You already are in Barbados. You already are in relationship with your specific person. Just play with this idea. Play that mind movie of holding hands walking in a garden, birds chirping, sun on your face, them smiling and you feeling loved. Feel that love of sitting with them in the balcony, while having a sip of coffee on a rainy day, while old songs are playing in the background. This is my imagination. This is my story. Yours can be different. Feed the new story. Your thoughts become reality, and your new story is your new reality. Your changed self-concepts are your new beginnings. You can do it easily. I even made a video about a technique that is very simple and works like a charm. Click on the first video that comes on the end screen to make it work for you. Happy manifesting.